Hello Rumble, hello YouTube, hello world! Faerodyn here with a close call video. I've already uploaded this one once, but I previously uploaded it with no narration at all so that fellow biker and YouTuber Dan the Fireman could break it down and talk about what I did right and what I did wrong or maybe could improve on.
You should be proud of that job, Faerodyn. It almost felt like it was a non-issue, huh? You probably deal with it all the time, but the reason why it feels like a non-issue and you have to deal with it all the time is because you already know how to handle it. Like, close calls are nothing when you start to really see them, right?
If you haven't already checked out his channels, Dan the Fireman and Motorcycle Training Concepts on YouTube, go and leave him some love and tell him that Faerodyn sent you. It will help him out and show him that the DDFM crew is spreading the word. He also has a Discord and a merchandise store where you can get helpful things like first aid kits that actually have useful items inside, not just band-aids. And every dollar spent there goes to a good cause. Dan teaches us a lot of riding techniques for new and veteran riders alike. He does a great job of breaking down close calls and crashes to give us mental tools that we can use to keep us safe and upright. Okay, now back to the video. The previous upload was featured by Moto Stars, Moto Madness, and a channel called Footage Show. Thank goodness this has been my only close call so far, and compared to the majority of other close call videos out there, this was really a non-issue because I was mentally prepared. So what I wanted to do was first let you see the close call, then I'll go through the clip again and sort of break down what my mindset was, what was going through my head, and what I did in preparation for the possible path of travel violation. Now I am going to have to apologize in advance. I mistakenly forgot to turn off my image stabilization on my GoPro this time, and so it really did crop down the field of view a little bit even though I still had my GoPro set on Super View, so you can't really see my hands or what I'm doing here, and that's a lot of the tell of what's going through the rider's head before something happens. So here we're just going to go ahead and go through it, and then I'll replay it with my turn-by-turn commentary. Okay, so first of all, one of the things I always like to do is my T-clocks before I go out on the road. T-clocks is an acronym, and it's meant to be a checklist of what to look out for on your motorcycle before every ride, or at least every so often. In addition to the T-clocks, I will also do a mental assessment of all the known hazards that I'm going to be running into out there. I'll think about things like, time of day. Where's the sun going to be at? Is it going to be blinding me? Is it going to be blinding other people? Is it going to be high enough to where it's not going to be a problem? I'll also think about things like, traffic. I try to avoid rush hour traffic if I don't have to ride in it, just because, people can get crazy. And here where I live in the Valley of Arizona, it's really crowded, at least for compared to what it used to be. I know compared to California, it's definitely not anything quite that crazy. But we still do have quite a few cars out on the road, especially with the COVID restrictions being lifted. People are getting back out there, they're going out and doing stuff, and so there's just a ton of cars out there at certain times of day. Anything else, if you know about construction, if you know about anything that maybe some sort of road surface that's been repaired in a certain spot you always go through, and they may have left things a little smooth, a little too smooth for a motorcycle, from a motorcycle standpoint. Anything like that, I just take everything and I think about, okay, what do I need to do? Is it about to rain? Are we supposed to get rain? Am I going to need to keep my speed down? Do I need to keep extra room in between me, an extra space cushion between me and other motorists? Everything like that, and I just kind of think it over in my head before I even get on my motorcycle and take off. And that way I'm not sitting there, white staged where I'm zoned out. I didn't really think about it. I just wanted to get on my bike and ride. And now I find myself in a situation where, because I didn't take all the hazards into account, I'm putting myself in a really bad spot. So that's another thing that I do in addition to T-clocks, and that's kind of what I did here when I took off. So I don't normally go out riding at this time of day. This is around 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday, so literally right smack dab in the middle of the rush hour traffic. Also, because it's around summertime, the sun at this particular time of day is at that horrible angle where it's too low for your flip down visors in your car to really block it. Even the strip that people put at the top of their windshields, whether it's just tint or actual solid vinyl to block out the sun, it doesn't really help. You really have to sort of adjust the way you're sitting and sort of sacrifice the top half of your view if you want to block out the sun and protect your eyes. So it's really not a good time of day to be driving. You still can, obviously, quickly if you need to, but it's just one of those hazards where you have to weigh, do I really want to go through this or can I put it off? For whatever reason, this particular day, I just wanted to go out and ride. I absolutely needed to hop on my bike and just, relieve some stress. So I went out, but I already knew in my head, okay, but this is what I'm going to be, having to look out for. I knew there was construction coming up here before I got back into town from my neighborhood. I knew there was going to be some sun glare. Luckily, the weather was really nice. There was no clouds or rain, so I didn't really have to worry about water too much. But the main thing to consider is just the fact that it's rush hour, so there's lots of traffic. The sun is at that odd angle, which is blinding everybody, and we also had some construction going on in the area, so I was taking these things into account. This video started off within just a minute or two of my ride, so I had literally just hopped on my bike and taken off. So really early into the ride, and that's why it's always a good thing to mentally prepare yourself before you get into your ride, because I've heard people say a lot, well, the highest probability for getting into an accident is usually within 5 miles of your house. And hey, you know what? That was actually almost completely spot on here. Okay, so right about here, that's when I remember looking in my rearview mirror and seeing just how bad the sun glare is. I was looking to make sure that the coast was clear to go ahead and get over, because I knew I'd need to. I could see the construction pylons up ahead, so I knew I needed to get over. And when I looked back, I had to do a head check too, because I literally couldn't see. So it was really, really hard, and I knew then from that point on, anybody facing west, so any motorist in front of me that were in oncoming traffic, or anybody that was in front of me but looking in their rearview mirrors, probably wouldn't be able to see me, so I needed to be extra careful here. Alright, so the sun is behind me, definitely casting a long shadow here, you can see it. I know people in front of me can't see me, and then I've also got these construction pylons here on the left. They're kind of obscuring my view a little bit, so I'm already anticipating that maybe they are also having their view of me obscured a little bit. And my bike is not an exceptionally big bike, it's a KTM RC390, so it does not have a big profile like, say, a Harley or some other type of cruiser. So I'm already anticipating that there's going to be a possible path of travel violation up here, which is just where somebody gets in your path of travel, whether it's their fault or your fault. They are now in front of where you are headed to, and they are not heading in the same direction or at the same rate of speed. And I'm coming up on this intersection, and I know there's probably, it's a rather big intersection. It just doesn't look like it because of all the construction pylons everywhere, kind of obscuring things and making it harder to judge dimensions. But I'm anticipating that there's going to be people wanting to turn left. I can't really see them that well until towards the last minute, and I know that they probably can't see me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maintain my speed, but I'm going to cover my clutch, I'm going to cover both brakes, and I'm going to prepare to instantly begin to decelerate as soon as I see a possible path of travel violation. And in this case, it could be from somebody on my right-hand side making a right turn in front of me because they didn't see me, or it could possibly be oncoming traffic, which is even worse, making a left-hand turn in front of me. So in my head, I've already thought there might be somebody pulling in front of me. Let's prepare just in case. So while I didn't exactly roll off the throttle just yet, I did prepare. Right about here is where I noticed there was a car, an oncoming car, waiting to turn left. And I noticed that the car is now at an angle. I don't see the perfect straight on front of the car, which means that they have already turned at an angle. Now the question becomes, are they going to continue with their turn? Are they stopped and waiting? Do they see me? Do they not see me? So again, that plays into the whole mental preparedness for just in case they do go, just in case there is a path of travel violation. So I'm already anticipating that they are in fact going to pull out in front of me. I see that they're creeping along slowly, and I'm not sure yet still, I'm not quite 100% sure one way or the other. Are they going to stop? Are they going to go? Right about here is where I actually see the front of their car move beyond a row of pylons, those flashing light construction pylons that they put up to block off lanes and whatnot. That's sort of my guideline. That's my barrier on my left-hand side, and that was what I, in my mind, had defined as, okay, if I see the front of their car penetrate that barrier, I know they've already committed to the turn, or even if they stop, they're going to stop right in front of me, and there's not going to be too much I can do in the way of coming to a stop in time. But what I can do is I can either slow down drastically, or I can swerve around them. So I can either use the brakes or swerve around them to the right, depending on how far they've pulled out. Now, if they've pulled all the way out and they're completely in my lane, I might not be able to do that. I might have to commit to stopping, or if they continue going but very slowly, I might have to swerve to the left and risk going towards oncoming traffic and that median there. So these are all factors that you have to take into consideration. So you can notice the exact time that I actually begin to react, because you'll see, even though you can't see my hands, you will see the front of the motorcycle dip down. You'll see those mirrors sticking up and the windshield just drop down. And what that is me hitting the brakes pretty hard. Not too hard, but enough to where I'm really starting to drastically reduce my speed. And as soon as I saw that the car was clear, I released the brake completely, you know, to be kind to the cars behind me, because I didn't know how close they were at the time. I was too focused on the car in front of me. And that way I was able to completely avoid having to do any sort of emergency maneuvering, like swerving around them and then regaining control of the bike and my direction of travel. It was a lot closer in person than it looks here in the video, but it still wasn't bad, because again, I had already drawn up the whole solution in my mind as to how this was going to play out if it happened at all. It did, and luckily I was already prepared for it, and I did exactly what I had told myself I was going to do. I'd like to give a big shout out to Dan the fireman and the DDFM crew for bringing us great educational content to keep us safe and make us safer motorcycle riders. Thank you so much, you guys, for all that you do. And this is going to conclude my commentary. I'm going to go ahead and play the 2 clips of Daniel going over my close call video. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, ride safe and have fun. Enjoy.
I wanted to pause it here. This is Faerodyn Moto. If you're in the chat, let me know. It's a DDFM crew member. This is a DDFM crew member right here. All right, here we go. All right, so Faerodyn's moving. Hopefully I said that right. Intersection, orange stage. Be prepped and ready. Left turner, left turner, left turner. Good braking. Go ahead and honk the horn. Not a big issue. Remember, some of these are not crashes. They're just minor close calls or common situations that could be happening to you. So we're going to be moving forward a little bit right here. Now, what is one of the biggest things that is going to cause a huge problem? All these cones. Now, somebody in the chat was saying that, you know, the sun could be a factor. Well, look at the reflective on these cones, the construction cones, probably blinding you a little bit. And then also the vehicle that's turning left in the intersection can't see us because of line of sight, because of the cones. So be prepped for that. You know, remember, intersections are always going to be orange stage. So you need to be prepped and ready for it. So don't accelerate through starting here. What I would do is I would start to roll off right here and just kind of coast through. And while I'm coasting, I'm having my hands on the brakes and getting ready for stuff. So we're going to keep moving right here. The moment we see that, you can barely see it. This person's turning left in front of us. They're going to keep going. They're not stopping. They're going to keep going. So what can we do? And it's exactly what Faerodyn did. He's going to go ahead and roll up the throttle even more, maybe apply some brake pressure. I can't really see his hands in this situation, but he's going to let that person go. But my other fear is when I see that, and it happens all the time, the car behind him, this one right here, could easily just say, you know what, he went, I'm going to go. So it's not that first one that you see, it's possibly that second one that decides to go out. So that's why I don't want you going into the intersection and doing this. Now, right now, he was paying attention to what was happening over there, but I don't want you doing this and being like, hey, man, F you, when the other car decided to still go. Now, I believe he saw that the other car was not going, so there it is. There's the car right there. Oh, get out of the way. Get out of the way. So he saw that he wasn't going, so then, yeah, he go ahead and look and say, what the f is going on? But I'm always worried about that second car. Always pay attention to that. Overall, great job. Faerodyn, are you in here? We just went over yours. Yeah, Faerodyn. Look, this is Faerodyn. Let's go back. He's in the chitty chat. I'm gonna lose my... Nope, I skipped it. This is so good, man. Right here, buddy. Right here. This is a good job. Saw the hazard, applied the brakes. Good job. Got himself out of it. I want to just point real quick. One thing since Faerodyn's here. Look at the moment he applies the brakes. So he's going to perceive and react. That's the moment he applied. Look how far away he did it. Okay, remember, you have to perceive it, then react. The reaction is actually moving your hands onto the brakes, and then the moment you squeeze is the braking distance. Look how far he did it. That's impressive. You start to see all the rest of the videos, and they don't do it until the last second. So this right here is when he did it. Imagine doing it now. That's what you typically see. Great job, Faerodyn. Thank you for submitting it. Sorry we took so long to get to it.
Whacker.